Biological hazards, also known as biohazards, refer to biological substances that pose a threat to the health of living organisms, especially the human beings. These hazards can be encountered anywhere in the environment, including home, school, shopping mall, or at work. The biohazard symbol was developed in 1966 by Charles Baldwin, an environmental health engineer. Today, we are going to learn about biological hazards, a complete safety training on biohazards. So, without wasting time, I'm going to introduce you what is included in this safety training session. In this training session, we'll discuss on 10 topics. Number 1, types of biological hazards. Number 2, how biological hazards enter the body. Number 3, how biological hazards are spread. Number 4, levels of biological hazards. Number 5, factors affecting infections and exposure. Number 6, who is at risk. Number 7, how to carry out risk assessment. Number 8, controlling exposure to biological hazards. Number 9, role and responsibility of a health and safety practitioner with respect to biological hazards. And at the end of the training session, we'll conclude what we are going to learn from this training session. So prior to going in depth, if you are first time on this channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon for all future notifications. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment, and share it with your friends and colleagues. Let us understand now biological hazards and its types. Dear friends and colleagues, biohazards encompass biological substances, including microorganisms, plants' toxins, or invertebrate animals, medical waste, or samples of body tissues, or fluids from a biological source. Depending on the nature of the occupation, workers also may be at risk of harm from vertebrates, biological agents capable of creating a hazard to human health. And you have to be more cautious about the symptoms and signs of biological effects if you are working on a site where there are the chances of the presence of biological hazards in your daily tasks, daily activities at your work sites. For your kind information, you have to remember biological agents are classified into risk groups according to their level of risk of infection. Group 1, unlikely to cause human disease. Group 2, can cause human disease and might be a hazard to workers. It is unlikely to spread to the community. There is usually effective prophylaxis or treatment available. Group number 3, with respect and with regards to biological agents or biological hazards. It can cause severe human disease and present a serious hazard to workers. It may present a risk of spreading to the community, but there is usually effective prophylaxis or treatment available. Group number 4, causes severe human disease and is a serious hazard to workers. It may present a high risk of spreading to the community. There is usually no effective prophylaxis or treatment available. It means group number 4 is extremely high and group number 1 is unlikely to cause human disease. You have to remember sequential order and it will help you to memorize what are the characteristics of different groups, and how to control these biological agents group-wise, what safety precautions are required. Dear friends and fellows, biohazards or biological hazards can be classified into 5 categories. Number 1, microorganisms. Number 2, arthropods. Number 3, allergens. Number 4, protein allergens. And number 5, parasites. Most of the time, you will not find the classification under these topics. We are just aware of the microorganisms family. Let us discuss now the different classes of biological hazards one by one. First class is microorganisms. The examples of microorganisms are viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae, etc. The reactions of microorganisms might be infection, exposure, and allergic reaction. Number 2, Atropads. Examples of Atropads are crustaceans, insects, etc. And the reaction of Atropads might be skin inflammation, allergic reactions, systemic intoxication, transmission of infectious agents, etc. You can understand the different types of biological hazards having different reactions, different effects on human beings and human body. Let us understand now what are allergens. It comes from higher plants. Examples of reaction might be dermatitis and asthma. Number 4, protein allergens, and the examples include vertebrate animals, urine, feces, air, saliva, etc. And remember, protein allergens lead to allergic reactions. Number 5, and the last category of biological hazards, parasites. Examples are ticks, hookworms, pinworms, etc. Do you know how the parasites family affect in the shape of inflammatory response and allergic reactions? Dear friends and fellows, as I told you, most of the time we are discussing biological hazards, but we are discussing only one class of biological hazards, and that is microorganisms, because they are affecting mainly to human beings. We'll go in depth, we'll understand how the microorganisms affect human beings and what are the different categories of biological hazards. Firstly, we'll start with bacteria, microscopic organisms that live in soil, water, or the bodies of plants and animals, and are characterized by lack of distinct nucleus and the inability to photosynthesize. Examples are E. coli, TB, and tetanus. Do you know what is E. coli? E. coli is a bacteria that is commonly found in the lower intestine of warm-blooded organisms. Most E. coli strains are harmless, but some can cause serious food poisoning. Let us jump now on the next topic to learn how the viruses affects the human body. Viruses are a group of pathogens that consist mostly of nucleic acids and that lack cellular structure. Viruses are totally dependent on their hosts for replication. Examples are common cold, influenza, measles, SARS, hantavirus, and rabies. You know very well. COVID-19. This is also a family member of biological hazards under the category of viruses. Let us learn now something about fungi. Any major group of low plants that lack chlorophyll and live on dead or other living organisms. Examples are mold, rust, mildew, smut, yeast, and mushrooms. These are the examples of fungi. Dear friends and fellows, you are on the platform of Safety First Life. Today we are discussing about biological hazards. Let us start now. How do biological hazards enter the human body? When determining appropriate protective measures are clear understanding of how it can enter the body. There are four different ways how the biological hazards enters the human body. Number one, inhalation through breathing. Number two, absorption, direct contact through breaks in the skin, even chapped skin, or through mucous membranes, contact with eyes, nose, or mouth. Number three, ingestion through swallowing. And number four, injection through a puncture. These are the four ways how the biological hazards enter the human body. Maybe through inhalation, absorption, ingestion, or injection. Let us learn now. If the biological hazards enter the human body, there might be a series of effects: infection and exposure. Dear friends and fellows, first of all, we'll see the modes of transmission is vital to breaking the infection cycle: contact, direct, indirect, zoonotic, vector-borne, or airborne. The other factor that affects the routes of entry, maybe the biological hazard enter through inhalation or injection or through ingestion. Number third point that affects the infection and exposure is infective dose. How many number of microorganisms, biological agents enter the human body? Fourth important point is viability and virulence of agent. Viability means ability to replicate. Virulence, ability to cause disease. Fifth important point and factor that affect infection and exposure: host susceptibility, skin disorders, immune system, vaccination, allergy, work practices, etc. In short, if you like to understand how the biological agents cause infection and exposure, then you have to memorize these 5 points. You have to understand modes of transmission, route of entry, infective dose, viability and virulence of agent, host susceptibility. After understanding the different classes of biological hazards, how the biological hazards enter the human body, let us learn now how biological hazards spread. Dear friends and colleagues, and what are the safety precautions? Remember, biohazard spread because of human to human contact. Do you know hepatitis A spread due to human contact? So don't ingest contaminated water or food. Avoid direct contact with infected person. A person with hepatitis A. Do you know the safety precautions needed for hepatitis B? Hepatitis B also spread due to human contact. Avoid tattooing and body piercing. Dispose of shops in disposal container. These are the minimum safety requirements. In the case of hepatitis C, avoid direct contact with infected person. Avoid tattooing and body piercing. Follow standard precautions. And in the case of measles, you have to remember human to human contact spread by cough and nasal droplets immunization. Avoid direct contact with infected people. Common thing is you don't have to contact. In the case even there is hepatitis A, B, or C patient, or if a person is affected by measles, you need to stay away. You need to follow safety precautions, and you will not share your personal belongings. And even though if you are in close contact, you are not maintaining a safe distance through cough or nozzle droplets, you can be affected. Maybe if you are sharing your makeup material, it is possible that this virus may infect you because of sharing your personal body items. Here, you need to remember few important points. We are talking about biological hazards, and you know very well until now, and it is very clear to you that biological hazards cause illness, diseases. For illness to occur, number one, the agent must be pathogenic. Number two, there must be a reservoir of sufficient number. Number three, the agent must escape the reservoir. Number four, the organism must be able to move through the environment. Number five, there must be a portal of entry for the host. And number six, the host must be susceptible to the agent. With these four factors, their combination, close linkage, there is the chance of illness and disease through or because of biological hazards. Dear friends and fellows, you are on the platform of Safety First Life. If you are first time on this channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon for all future notifications. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment, and share it with your friends and colleagues. I know the presentation is long, and most of the time, we don't have time to watch or witness such lengthy training sessions. But remember, this is something about safety, safety of your life, your health, your friends, and your fellow workers. Let us understand now who are at risk of biological hazards. Dear friends and fellows, employees could come into contact with infectious as a result of the kind of work they do. Employees who are most at risk from biological hazards include healthcare workers, animal breeding facilities and veterinarians, agriculture and food industry workers, municipal sanitation participants, sewage system operators, animal and plant products handlers. Remember, all these categories, healthcare workers, animal breeders, veterinarians, agriculture and food industry workers, municipal sanitation, sewage system operators, and animal handlers. All these occupations and all these professionals, they are at risk of ill health because of biological hazards. But still a lot more to come in the part two of biological hazards that will cover many occupational infections, including bloodborne pathogens, airborne pathogens, waterborne pathogens, foodborne pathogens, and foodborne intoxications. In addition to that, we will learn how to prepare biological hazards risk assessment, how to develop and implement the hierarchy of controls with respect to bioagents and biological hazards. What are the key responsibilities of a health and safety practitioner with respect to biological hazards? And that's all for now. Training session, part one of biological hazards is over. If you have any question, please ask in the comment section. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. Hope to see you soon with part two of biological hazards. Until then, take care. Good luck and goodbye.